Please check out the description for live sessions if you're looking for, and also visit our website Course Approach for full details and next steps. See you there.
This is Vishnu. Total, I have 10 years of experience into this accessibility field. So today I'm going to demonstrate what is accessibility testing and what is meant by accessibility. So how do we connect this into our real life? So what exactly we are going to test it, whether it is going to be manual or automation, what are the prerequisites? So all these things we're going to cover in this session. Let's see the agenda that I have planned. What is accessibility, and as followed by real life examples. How do you connect the dots and the types of disabilities that we have? And to test anything, we should have this accessibility principles, right? So that's why we have this accessibility principles as part of agenda. And we do have lots of compliance, laws and compliance in this accessibility testing. And also to test anything, there should be some guidelines, right? So in accessibility testing also, we have some guidelines called WCAG guidelines. WCAG stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And also we do have little manual testing tools and automation tools as well, and a couple of techniques that we have. So that we will see as part of this session. So let's move on. What is meant by accessibility? So as we all know that accessibility is a practice or a keyword. So where the things should work for everyone. So regardless of the disability. So disability, as we all know that it's a generic English word, so disability is nothing but where you are not able to do anything like as a normal human being. So that is called a disability. So when it comes to the web disability, web accessibility or into digital terms, so how do you connect these things? Is uh, designing your websites or an applications that can be used for everyone, including people with disabilities. So keep in mind that so when you talk about accessibility, it is not only meant for the people who are having some sort of disabilities. It is for everyone. So we will see how as a normal human being, so when we'll use such accessibility features. So all these things we'll be seeing in upcoming slides. So before to that, so just I would like to highlight this accessibility testing is a part of non-functional testing, which is a subset of usability testing. So when I say subset of usability testing, so we do have different types of testings, right? In non-functional testing also, like usability, performance, and this accessibility testing as well. So let's see what is usability testing first. So usability testing is nothing but say along with this accessibility. So you will see the efficiency, the learnability, and the satisfaction of the user. When it comes to accessibility, it is specifically for the people who are having some sort of disabilities, how they are going to use our product. But when it comes to usability, how easy and effectively the our products are being used by the users for all kind of users. So that's a main key difference between usability and accessibility. Yeah. Moving on. So why do we need to take care of accessibility first? So accessibility is a legal, ethical, and it's a business necessity, right? So if you see the stats, right, this is as part of 2022 recent stats that we have gone through. This is available in Google as well. So if you see the stats, right, so one in five American adults has some sort of disability. So it means that see, you can see that so one number is very small, but if you see the overall world population, you will be shocked. I mean, so be it, so again, there are two types of disabilities. One is permanent and one is temporary. So it could be anything, but one in five American adults means so the number is growing like anything, and the people who are using our web products, what are the products that we are going to test and whatever we are going to develop is rapidly increasing. I can say 60% of the people who are having some sort of disabilities are on their daily basis, they are going to use our web applications or our products into be it in their web platform or mobile platform. So that is the number. So let's say if you don't think about this accessibility testing or accessibility implementation right now, so indirectly you are going to ignore that one in five American adults, or I am going to show you in the world so how much the population who are having some sort of disability. So it is like we are directly ignoring this many people. So this is the count right now. So as part of 2022 stats that I said, like, so 25% of the population in the world are living with some sort of disabilities. Again, as I said, it is a permanent disability or a temporary disability. So when I say temporary disability, so where, let's say, if we have some broken arm, let's say if someone met with an accident, so there will be some sort of disability like a broken arm, like, so they have to use walker, or sometimes they have to sit on wheelchair. So this is a temporary disability, just for it will stay for a weeks. But when it comes to permanent disability, so it will be lifelong. Like, so there are, like, in our daily life, we will see that, like, people, they'll be having some sort of disabilities, right? So you can see that overall count is 25%. So it is like 1/4 of your business customers, you are ignoring them, and you are going to miss that market of 1/4 of the world, which is very big, right? So that's why we should see in terms of the market also, and also when it comes to the legal things, right? Like, say now in across the world, so we do have a lot of compliance and regulations requirements for accessibility. So where if you are selling, or if you are making any business, or if you are having any public website, public domain website, your website has to be accessible for the people with the disabilities. So now, as I said, like, so when it comes to the legal front, right? Like, so we have, again, there is a data here. So every day, if you see, right, like, so every year the number is increasing slowly. So what is this accessibility lawsuits? So there will be certain guidelines and the lawsuits, like, so where according to the American Disability Act, so there is an act called American Disability Act, so ADA, which in short we call it as ADA. So according to that act, American Disability Act, like, so whatever the public domain websites or applications or mobile apps that you are developing, these things should be accessible for the people with all sort of disabilities. So I'm going to cover what are the different types of disabilities in my upcoming slides. But if you see, the count is rapidly increasing. So which means the more people are using it, and the more lawsuits are coming in, meaning we are ignoring some accessibility in somewhere, right? And I can take one classic lawsuit that happened recently on Domino's. So one of the customer is ordering a pizza in their Domino's app, like, where he's a completely blind user, visual impaired user, like, so where he was not able to order a pizza there. So directly he filed a lawsuit on Domino's, and the court has said that, like, so the court declared that the Domino's has to pay the penalty for the customer. And also we have one more classic lawsuit that happened in 2020, I believe. It's on Target. It's an e-commerce platform, like, so where the blind customer was trying to order a vacuum cleaner in their web application. So where he couldn't able to find that product, like, so what is that exact product? Imagine, let's say, if you are blind and you are trying to access the application that you are daily using. For example, daily, I'm sure that you are going to use Facebook or Instagram or Google search. Imagine, just close your eyes for a moment and try to hit or search any Google search, or any, try to access your feed in your Facebook. So which is very difficult, right? Like, imagine for the people who are visually impaired, or who are having some sort of speech disabilities or hearing impairment, how they are going to sustain in this world, how they are using our web applications on their daily needs. So it's very difficult, right? Like, so that's why we should think from the empathy point of view, and we should think from the accessibility point of view. So how we can make the things accessible for the people with disabilities. And as I said, like, the Target e-commerce also, so they ended up paying around $10 billion to that customer. So who was not able to order the vacuum cleaner because of inaccessibility that they have provided in their website, where there was a image with vacuum cleaner, but it was not reading. Like, so there are a couple of techniques that I'm going to tell you in this upcoming slides. So how the blind users are going to use their our web applications in their daily life, I'm going to share there. So that's why when it comes to the legal perspective as well, so we are going to end up paying a lot of penalties and a lot of legal compliances. At sometimes they will ask us to shut down our businesses as well. So that's why in federal courts we should be very careful when you're dealing with any sort of accessibility testing. Yeah. Moving on, examples of real life accessibility. Like, so every day you might have seen this kind of retractable ramp for transports and all. And sometimes let's say if you visit the hospital, so there in the ramp, right, like you will see one side it will be stairs and one side it will be ramp. Same thing when you are traversing through the escalators or any lifts, right? You might see the buttons with tactile feedbacks. So where the blind user can touch the button and he can figure out what kind of what is the button number there, like so that he can directly navigate to the floor without any dependency. So how they're going to do that? Like so when they touch the button by closing their eyes, they can see the tactile feedback, which is called a braille. So directly they can figure out, okay, so this is number 4. So he can go directly to number 4, level 4. So similarly, let's say if any wheelchair user, if he is traveling alone without having any co-member, so how he can navigate, like so how we can transport and how we can go from one place to another, like so this is one of the classic example where we can see in our daily life daily life real life as well. So where if you provide the ramp, like so directly they can travel without any dependency. So even imagine, let's say in our homes also we'll be having elder people where they'll be struggling to access or any apps and all. Imagine if you provide such kind of accessibilities experience in their digital world, so they don't need to depend on anyone, right? Like, so they can transfer the money, they can book the cabs, they can do anything, so without having any dependency. So that's why this accessibility should come from the testing perspective and from the design perspective, so that we'll be connecting the dots with the real life. So how we can make the things accessible. When you're testing also, you should think from the end user's perspective. Let's say I am testing for the blind user. So how difficult it is to navigate between these web pages if you are using any real life tools. So for the blind users, so they have different kind of assistive technologies like screen readers like JAWS, NVDA. Some of them are paid and some of them are open source. So if you just imagine, let's say if you make the things accessible for the folks who are having some sort of disabilities, so there is no dependency, right? Like so directly they can access the websites on their own. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to show there's some real life examples here. Now, when it comes to the types of disabilities, so we do have different variety of disabilities right now in the world, like cognitive, visual, auditory, motor, and speech. So cognitive is nothing but, let's say, they cognitive people who are having some sort of cognitive disability. So it will be very hard to remember for them and it is very hard for them to process the information. Like so, whatever the info that you are giving, so within a fraction of seconds they will forget, and they can't learn the things like as a normal human being. So they can't pay the attention and they can't read and write at sometimes. And cognitive disabilities, again, they have different types of diseases like dyslexia, autism, down syndrome, traumatic brain injuries. So it could be anything. So all these things will come under cognitive disabilities. Coming to visual impairment or a visual disability, like they have again different sort of varieties there, where the one human being is completely blind, or sometimes it will be color blindness, or sometimes it will be half blind. So sometimes they'll be having a lot of vision issues. So these all this kind of disabilities will come under visual disability. Coming to auditory, so auditory, like so people who face who will be facing hard to hear the things. So they, for them it will be like they'll fall under auditory. Again, there are different types of levels there. So imagine, let's say if you're watching Netflix series and some important conversation that was going in a movie, and let's say some blind or a deaf person is sitting in front of that Netflix series. So how can he consume our content? So let's say you are testing or you are using Netflix. So did you get that doubt? Like, so how the deaf user can consume our content? So imagine, let's say there is some fight going on or some nice music it was playing in the background. So how the deaf user or impairment guy, like so who is hard to listen, who faces issues to listen these things, so how he will get the content? So that is kind of testing that we need to do when it comes to this auditory disabilities. Coming to motor, so again, motor is very vast disability, I can say, like where it could be a temporary or a permanent, like as I said at the beginning of the session, where if the person is having some sort of he met with some sort of an accident, and he has to use a walker or a wheelchair for some time with a broken arm, and sometimes it could be because of cerebral palsy or paralysis. They have to use the wheelchair for lifetime. So how you can make the things accessible for such kind of motor disability people or users? Because let's say now we have a broken arm or a fracture that happened on the right hand, and there is no possibility that you have to you can move your hand. So there is no only one hand now, left hand. So how you can use your mobile to order in Uber or a Swiggy with one hand? So all these things you have to keep in mind. Like, so when it comes to the disability, similarly with the speech, let's say if the dumb user is using our application, so how he can interact with our applications. So I'll take a pause here and I'll just give one real life example. So how many of we guys are using Siri or a Google Assistant in our daily life? So I can say that like on a daily basis, I'll be using at least minimum 5 to 10 times. So it is very easy for me. So though I don't have any need to use Siri, but it makes my process or my task very simple, easy. So let's say now I'm going to bed now around 9 o'clock. So tomorrow morning I have to wake up by 4 o'clock. So I need to open my app, clock app, and I need to go to the alarms and set the alarm for 5 a.m. So instead of that, just one button, or just you need to just voice out saying that, hey Siri, set my alarm at 5 o'clock a.m. So it's done. So it will be setting up your alarm on behalf of you. So such kind of features, like, so where you are using on your in your daily life, like, so without any need. And sometimes for the people who are having some sort of disabilities, it is their main task or a main app, so or a main feature they are going to use on their daily life. So that's why we should be knowing what are the types of disabilities when you are testing this accessibility. Now, as I said, moving on, principles of accessibility. So what are the different types of principles that we should keep in mind when you are testing accessibility? So there are total 4 types of principles. I'll go one by one. So the first one is perceivable. Perceivable is nothing but, let's say now, whatever the content that you are seeing, it should perceive to the content, means it should convey the meaning to the folks who are having some sort of disability, be it a visual disability or a cognitive. So they should be able to perceive your content. So let's say now you have some red color message in your red color font message in your web page, which is indicating some sort of danger. Let's say now if you have used only the red color content, like say now I have some color blindness. So where the red color I can see in a different color because of my color blindness issue. So in that case, I'm going to lose that information. And the similar way, let's say now I have some success transaction that is happened. So instead of having any icon or anything, just if I give any green color text, green color font, and I can't consume green color, so directly I'm going to lose that content, right? So that's why whatever the content that you are testing, so it should be, you should think in a perceivable principle, how you are going to perceive the content as an end user, how the end users are going to perceive your content, whether any color is used or any icons along with the color, they have used any icons to convey the information. So these things you should keep in mind when you are testing for perceivable. Similarly for operable. So operable is nothing but, as you see the icon, it is mainly talks about keyboard keyboard testing. So let's say now if you are testing any application, so without using mouse, how can you traverse from top left to bottom right of your web application? Similarly, from top left to bottom right of your mobile app. So how you can do only with the keyboard. So when I say mobile app, like, so users, there are users where they will use mobile or a wide keyboard setup. So they will be keeping the mobile and they will be typing on the keyboard, because they can't use the touchpad because of their shaking hands and some sort of disabilities. So how they are going to traverse? So you might get doubt, like, so there will be some plain content, how the keyboard focus will go there. So this operable principle applies only for the interactive elements that are present on the page. So when I say interactive UI elements, for example, I can say the basic HTML components, button, link, radio button, drop down, navigation bar. So all these things, menu, all these things comes under interactive UI elements. So that's why, so when it comes to this accessibility testing, the basic HTML components is as a prerequisite, it is necessary. So we should know like so how this HTML components are being designed and what are the basic components that we have. So it is not like very hard to remember or hard to learn, because when you see, right, like so even if you go to any banking website or any other shopping websites, so you might interact with all these kind of elements in your daily life. Just it is because you don't know the names of it. That's the only key difference. Let's say in your if you take Google search, there will be one search box, and beside that there will be one button. So you know that like there is a search box, but beside that there is a button, but you don't know that that's a button. So that is a semantic name of that UI component. So that's the only prerequisite that we should have when you want to test when you want to do start your career with accessibility testing. So as I said, this operable principle applies to the keyboard testing alone. So all the keyboard navigation checkboxes, drop downs, radio buttons, all these things should be operable with keyboard alone. So we should not use mouse at any cost. So without using mouse, so how you can interact with your web page for the interactive elements. Moving on, understandable. So understandable, as you can see the brain icon. So mainly this understandable focuses on the cognitive disability. So let's say now as an end user, I am filling one form, and there is a sign up page where I'm giving my first name, last name, and password. So I am giving, there is no instructions for me. What is the password that I need to fill there? So I'm just giving test at the rate 123, but it is not accepting because that the special characters and digits should not be allowed for the password field. So that is their requirement. But when I click on submit button, and on top of the form field, just I'm getting form error. So if I get such a generic message which is very ambiguous, so how can I make it correct? So that's why this understandable is very important. Like so, whenever you are giving any content or whenever you are giving any action to the user, like so you should prevent the user to do the mistake there. Yeah, so that is the understandable principle talks about. So it is not about only the forms. So what are the content and what are the actions that users are performing, so it should be self-understandable without any dependency. Moving on to the robust. So as you see the icon itself, it is saying it should be compatible for all sort of devices, because you can't predict the end user like so where he is going to access our web page. So let's say now I don't have any disability, so right now I am using mobile. So tomorrow I have broken arm, so I'll be sitting in a wheelchair and I'll be accessing my iPad with one hand. So and tomorrow I'll be sitting in a room and I'll be connecting to my projector, or to my desktop. So that's why it is very important that whatever the application that you are designing, it should be robust enough to support all the platforms and also the channels as well. When I say channels, it should support for Android, iOS, and with the different platforms. So that's why that's where we should see whether the content is displaying in all the channels and whether is there any truncation or overlap is happening when you are testing any application. So let's say I have facebook.com. I have opened in a mobile. Let's say I have iPhone 12. So I'm opening facebook.com in iPhone 12, which is working fine. And the same website, if I open in iPad, there should not be any text truncation and overlap should happen. It should not happen. So that's why we should see why, because we don't know the end user whether he is going to pinch in or zoom in the content, or whether he's going to scroll left, right. So all these things we should be keeping in mind while testing the robust principle. So this is accessibility compliance laws. There are few laws that I have pointed out here across the world. As you can see here, like so we do have AODA, ADA, and India also we have national policy for PWD. In China, there is a law of protection for PWD. So these are the basic rights and right. Like so, we should not think from the compliance perspective. As I can say, it's a basic need for every human, right? So when it comes to this accessibility, we should think in that perspective. But again, when it comes to the compliance as well, like sometimes it is very easy for us to ignore this accessibility, but when it comes to this laws, compliance laws, it is very strict and we will end up paying a lot of penalties here. So for example, if you take ADA or US section 508, so whenever you are dealing with any US products or any applications, we should be very careful with these two compliance laws. So we should give the compliance accessibility compliance statement in your footer section saying that you are supporting so and so accessibility guideline up to this level, so that in future, let's say if anyone wants more accessibility experience, you can take that as a feedback, but you can upfront say that like, so this is what my application is supporting right now. And there will be a lot of conformance reports and VPAT also, voluntary product assessment template. So that we are going to cover soon. So these are the different templates that we have. Whenever you are going to buy any product from your client, you can see that conformance reports. So what sort of up to what sort of accessibility level it is accessible. So like that, like so we have different accessibility compliance laws. So whatever the projects that you are going to work on, for which country you are going to support, like so like that we have to go through that. So now all these compliance laws we have, but since we are from software background, like so our IT background, like we don't have all these laws, basic law information. So how we are going to work on these things? So say let's say now tomorrow you're going to work on European Union. It doesn't mean that like so you have to go and sit and study that European Union law, right? So there will be some base for everything, right? Like so, as you said in the beginning, there are principles, right? Similarly, to for this compliance laws also to make it accessibility compliant, there is some base. That is nothing but introduction to WCAG slide that I'm going to explain. So the base that I was talking about when it comes to this compliance law is WCAG. WCAG stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So this is derived by W3. So W3 stands for World Wide Web Consortium. So it is the board like so where they have introduced the HTML, CSS, everything. But along with that, like so they have introduced this web content accessibility guidelines. So there for everything there should be some guidelines, right? Because otherwise everyone will follow their own guidelines and they will end up having the chaos there. So that's why we should have specific guidelines whenever you are creating a new content or a web content or a web application. There should be some guidelines. So as I said, like so the guidelines, techniques, and the related documents total, including everything, it has around 150 pages. But don't be panicked. Like so, we don't need to go through this 150 pages to start with. I am going to cover in a different conformance levels. We do have level A, AA, AAA in upcoming sessions. So this is an overview. So to test any such compliance laws, let's say now tomorrow you're going to work on European client and next day China, next Singapore. So for anything, WCAG is the base. Web Content Accessibility Guidelines is the base, which is derived by W3. So if you know or if you are well versed with these W3 guidelines, WCAG guidelines, then you can work on any country across the world. You can work on accessibility testing for any country. Now let's see this accessibility tools and methods. So far we have seen the theoretical part. So what is this mean? What is meant by accessibility? The real life examples, why we should take care of this accessibility and the importance, how it differs from usability and accessibility. So now we will see the actual types of tools and the methods that we have to test this accessibility. So these are the just like I wanted to give the glimpse of different tools that we have, but in a broader way, I can segregate into three things here when it comes to this accessibility testing. There are three ways. One is manual testing. Another one is using automated tools. The other one is, which is important, we should have the user testing. So real end user testing. So let's say now you have one new tool that you are introducing or you are developing into the market. So it is advised to get it tested by the end user as a end user testing at the end who is having some sort of disability. So there are some agencies where you can conduct the end users research testing by the end user directly so that you will get the real-time feedback at the end. But before to that, as a testing team or a testing QA, like so what is the basic things that you need to keep in mind? So when I say manual testing, so we do have a lot of checks that we should see, as I said, like in perceivable and operable principle, right? So whenever you are doing anything, let's say now you will hit one web page in your Google Chrome and you will be opening directly one web page and you will be traversing or navigating between the web page, between the UI components using the keyboard alone. So that, and you will be seeing, let's say if your focus navigates to the button and if you hit enter or spacebar, whether it is operable or not, whether it is triggering or not. And similarly for the checkbox, let's say if you press spacebar, whether the checkbox is getting ticked or not. So all these things you will do as part of manual testing. And similar way, let's say you have the form fields and whether you will see whether is there any color that is being used and which only the color is conveying the information or any other checkpoints or icons that are being used. So all these things you will cover under uh, manual testing. So on one more thing, focus order. So focus order is nothing but, let's say now, as I said, like you are traversing from top left to bottom right. So in between your focus, your keyboard focus. When I say keyboard focus, you should use tab and shift tab key to navigate between back and forth of your web page elements, UI elements. So whenever you are doing that, you should see the order. Let's say now you have the navigation menu A, B, C. So let's say now from A, if you press tab key, it should go to B. It should not go to C and it should not come back to B. Meaning that focus is not matching with the visual order. So these kind of guidelines will be there as part of web content accessibility guidelines. And we should keep in mind whenever you are doing such testing. And also now coming to the automated testing tools that we have Axe DevTools, which is a very popular tool by DQ University. And we have one more tool called Wave Tool. All these are Chrome extensions. And we do have web accessibility toolbar, Lighthouse tool, and we do have IBM equal accessibility checker. So these are the different types of automated tools. We can use any one tool and all the tools will pretty much work the same. So just it's a Chrome or a Firefox plugins. So just you need to download it and whenever you open any, when I say automated, don't get confused. Like, so there is no prerequisite of any such coding language required to do this accessibility testing. It is just a automated tool. Let's say now, as I said, like, so all these 150 pages, whatever we have seen so far, or these 150 pages, these guidelines are being converted into one of the APIs in the backend, and they have been fed into these tools. So that's why I'm saying these are automated tools. So imagine, let's say now you have one Google website or Facebook, and whenever you are opening in a browser, and if you are running this Axe DevTools in that particular website, so it will scan the entire page with respect to that 150 guidelines, and it will give you the report. So you may get doubt like, okay, there is a automated tool which scans for this 150 pages or guidelines. So why we need to again do the manual testing? So there is a chance or there is a probability, and it's proven also. So whenever you are using any automation tool with respect to accessibility, only 40% of the issues can be covered. So remaining 60% needs human intervention there. So that's why I said, like, so manual testing, the phases of this accessibility testing is, first you should go for the manual testing, and then accessibility automation testing using automation plugins. Then the last one is user research testing. So that is about automation tools. And next one is color contrast analyzer tools that we have. So when it comes to color contrast, so just I wanted to touch base on this color contrast analyzer tool. It is a desktop Windows application tool. So where, let's say now you will open one of the banking website, and as part of my color blindness issues or anything, so I was not able to get this text. So because it is very, though it is a very bold text for me, but people who are having some sort of color blindness, right? So they can't able to read this content. So people who are having some sort of scissors or any some sort of disability, right? So for them, it is very hard to read the text. So that's why you should be very careful whenever you are dealing with this color contrast. You should cross check the foreground color and the background color, what they are exactly using. And there is a minimum requirement as part of web content accessibility guideline people should use. That is 4.5:1, and there are different contrast ratios that we have. The tool will give you the ratio between foreground and background of the web page or a particular text. So this is again one of the manual testing that is required. So even it is covered as part of Axe DevTools also. But again, so as I said, like, so only 40% of the issues can be caught using automation tool. Remaining 60% needs to be done by manual. So next thing is screen readers. Screen readers are nothing but, let's say now we are completely blind, so where people can't see anything. So and they are going to access our web page. So how they are going to access it? So for example, now you can see the tools. So with our naked eye, we can see it is a tools heading, which is very bold and big. But imagine if you close your eyes, how can you consume that content? Tools means it's a generic word, but how can you consume that? There is a property, right? Like, so there is a heading, it's a bold text, and this is the title of this slide. So how this blind user is going to get the content? They are going to get this content with the help of these assistive technologies, NVDA, JAWS, voiceover, and talkback. So again, as I said, like couple of them are open source and couple of them are paid, and these things are not only for web, it is for mobile as well. NVDA and JAWS is for web, and voiceover and talkback is for mobile. Yeah, and we do have different miscellaneous testings, again, keyboard testing, zoom testing, text spacing. We should do the mobile validation, and also bookmarklets. Bookmarklets is nothing but, so as I said, like, so for every text, there should be some minimum space. If you see here, right? So in this sentence, accessibility checker, like, so there should be minimum space in between these two, and minimum space between these two characters as well. So there is a text spacing guideline which talks about this accessibility testing. So there is a bookmarklet again available in the market. So just we need to enable it when you load your website, which is going to test in the browser. And just if you hit that bookmarklet, it will give you the score of the entire application. Yeah. And I'm going to quickly show you the demo of Axe DevTools, which will be helpful in our future. Let me quickly get that screen. Yeah. So this is my website that which I wanted to test it as part of my accessibility testing. So as I said, like, so how we are going to test, how we are going to scan with respect to accessibility violations. So just go ahead and inspect, and here you can find Axe DevTools as a Chrome plugin. So here you need to select the role. So which role you are going to test. Like, so I'm a tester. So I'll be selecting tester here and start using Axe DevTools. So here, as I said, like, so there are two versions again in Axe DevTools. As I said, this is a DQ tool, DQ provided by DQ University. So we do have two versions here. One is full page scan and the other one is partial page scan. So partial page scan is nothing but, let's say now my developer said, like, so just I wanted to test this functionality. So then why should I run the entire full page functionality, full page? So that's why in a pro version, we will get such an option. So where you can scan only with respect to this UI component. So these are the UI components that I was referring to. So this drop down and these buttons and these carousels, all these things are UI components. So for now, just for a demo purpose, I'm going to scan it for full page. Let's see how this works. Yeah, as you see here, like, so it ran, and with respect to WCAG 2.1 AA compliance, AA conformance level. And here you can see total there are 32 violations are there, 32 issues are there. So just a matter of 2-3 seconds, I got 32 issues. But now again, there is a manual intervention required to see whether all these are valid issues or not, because it's a tool, right? At the end of the day, it can do some mistakes as well. But before jumping onto the issues, just see there are total 32 issues. And so there is segregation again. Out of 32, 13 are critical and 19 are serious. And there are no moderate and minor issues. Let's see, if you want to see critical, just click on 13. So you can see this 13 issues. And see, now you don't know, because since we are from non-background, like, so we don't know anything about HTML. Imagine that we don't know anything. So now this is a HTML code that is pointing to some img tag, which is image, but I don't know where it is. Just click on highlight this button. So it is going to highlight you where exactly the issue is. So there is an issue on this up arrow button. So what exactly this image is speaking about? Let's say now this is an image. It's an icon. But imagine like, so for a blind user, so there is no way to determine this is an up arrow icon, right? If you close the eyes. So that's why what this tool is recommending is have some alternative text. So this is one of the guideline which is as part of this WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guideline that we have. There should be some alternative text for this up arrow icon, so that when screen reader users are using JAWS or NVDA, they can directly navigate to this element and they can read, okay, it's a back to top link. So when I click on this link, it will go to the top. So this is how the tool can give the recommendation. But still, let's say if you are not able to understand the recommendation or the defect title, so what you have to do, just click on more information. So this will give you the detailed information about what is this defect about, and what are the guidelines that they are following, and what are the types of disabilities that are impacting. So you can see there are two types of disabilities that are affecting because of this defect, which is blind, and another one is deaf blind. So, and moreover, you can see it's a very critical issue. So we should fix it. Like, so we should directly report it. So now you can see there are total 13, but this is one instance. As you can see here, there are total three instances. If you want to go to next issue, just click on it, and you can see here. Yeah, and here you can see, right? Like, so this is a one kind of false positive, I can say. There is nothing here, but just here on top, bottom left, it is just highlighting into some hidden thing. So that's why, as I said, like, so there should be some manual intervention required whenever you are trying to analyze these issues. And see, this is a false positive, so directly we can ignore, though it's a critical one, but it is not required. The next one is, again, it is about the chat icon. So there is a chatbot icon, but there is no proper alternative text for it. So like this, you can find out what are the different types of issues that we have. So as I said, like, we can use this Axe Dev tools or any automation tools as a first go, so that you can immediately report such kind of very critical issues, so that developers also will get a good amount of time to see or to fix the defects. So and also, if sometimes, right, let's say because of this color issues and all, there might be a chance of redesign also. So that's why these kind of critical defects should be addressed as soon as possible. And also, when should we start this accessibility testing? So in SDLC phase, I mean software development lifecycle phase, there is no particular time where you have to start the accessibility testing. So it should start from the design perspective itself. So accessibility tester should involve right from the design phase itself. So let's say if there are any wireframes or prototypes that are being designed to design this application, so accessibility tester should involve, and he should give the recommendations from the design perspective, from the accessibility design perspective. So let's say now, if they're proposing this sort of calculator, so you should think from the end user's perspective how difficult it is to drag and drop for the people who are having some sort of disabilities. So you should propose the alternative. What is the alternative? So here they have introduced the text field. So this is one way to enter the amount, and this is the other alternative way. So that we are giving the accessibility feature and recommendation then and there itself in the design phase, so that it will be easy for the designers, and also it is easy for the developers also, and so that you can shift left your testing approach into this accessibility. And also the minimum amount of defects you can reduce when it comes to real testing. And also now, for example, just I would like to give one more last example for the day. So there are 4 tabs here, you can see. So how you can see that there is a difference? So there is a visual difference if you closely observe between selected and non-selected tab. There is a line under that, and there is a color change. So how the end user, let's say now I am the blind user or a color blind user, how I'll get to know whether there is a line and there is a color change between these two? So I can't differentiate, right? So that's why we should have something with respect to accessibility. So there is an advanced accessibility concept called ARIA, accessibility rich internet application. So we should be thinking in that perspective also whenever you are dealing with the accessibility. We should give the such recommendations. So that I'm going to discuss in detail how to give the recommendations, and what are the key techniques that, let's say now this page you got it for testing, but you don't have much time to report it. So what are the key things that we need to keep in mind? So as I said, like, so you don't need to go through that 150 pages. So if I give you some 10-15 guidelines, you can keep in mind. And those guidelines, if you go through from top left to bottom right of your web page, at least I can guarantee you that you can cover 50% of your defects. And you are good to complete your smoke testing in accessibility. So that's how the course will go. I would like to take a break here.
Thanks for watching. Please check out the description for live sessions if you're looking for, and also visit our website Course Approach for full details and next steps. See you there. Thank you.